Here now with more, Dana Loesch, host of Dana on the Blaze TV, and Nomiki Konst is host of The Filter on Sirius XM Progress. Good to see you both tonight.
Good evening.
Thanks for having us, Shannon.
All right, Nomiki, I've been through this list as officially released by the Department of Justice, and these are not angels. We are talking about, in most of these firearms cases, guns that were being used in connection to drug trafficking crimes. Does that not speak of any hypocrisy to you?
I think on the surface, and you're a lawyer, so you know this, these cases are complicated. A lot of these cases, let's not forget, this is a result of the crime laws that came out of the early 90s and the late 80s when we were tough on crime. Now we know better. We've had bipartisan efforts on the right and the left to really examine our criminal justice system and see how we were targeting individuals. While some of these folks were convicted legitimately for trafficking arms and trafficking drugs, the majority of these people that are being commuted, and let's be clear, commuted does not mean that they're just released. They'll have a record, they won't have rights when they get out of jail, and it's a shortened commutation versus a longer. And these people were targeted. 1 in 3 black men were targeted versus 1 out of 17 black men who both, but whites and blacks equally.
When you read these through, Nomiki, when you read these convictions, I have no idea the race of the people who are on these lists. But Dana, they did some bad stuff.
Oh, Shannon, you're absolutely right. They did some bad things. And I think at this point, it's somewhere around 170 so of these repeat offenders, these felons who have been released back into the streets or had their sentences shortened. And in some cases, those who've been pardoned, they're back out there full and free. Look, here's the problem. We have a huge problem with our judicial system. We have judges who give lenient sentencing. A lot of times, minimum mandatory is not even met. In Cook County alone, Shannon, in the year 2014, only one out of every 100 firearms cases, and these are legit cases. This isn't little baby stuff. We're talking about felony firearms charges. Only 1 out of 100 of those cases were prosecuted. Cook County alone, in fact, all of the cities where you have those mayors against illegal gun leaders and their cities, they rank the last on cities that actually go after and prosecute gun crimes. This is the problem. There's no deterrent anymore. A criminal knows that if he goes out and illegally possesses a firearm or engages in gun trafficking or makes a straw purchase, there's not going to be a stiff penalty for him because he's going to get lucky and he's going to get one of these bad judges, which is why I can't wait for Jeff Sessions to become Attorney General so he can start help cleaning this up.
Well, and Nomiki, there are so many calls every time something tragic happens. We need more gun laws, we need more control, we need things to be stricter. And yet what Dana is saying is that a lot of the laws that are on the books are not being actually enforced. And that is the case in many of these federal firearms felony issues. If no one is going to prosecute those cases, then how can we be complaining about the need for tougher gun restrictions? And then when they are convicted in these cases, we have the president giving them a pass.
I see what Dana's doing here. She's taking an anecdote. The reality here is we're spending...
No, it's data. It's not real data.
It's an anecdote from the data. The reality here
No, it's actually Cook County statistics. I'm not going to let you brush this off with your lack of education on the topic. This is real data that you're not going to brush off.
Okay, real data. Let's go through real data. You want to go through? We spend $4 billion a year. There's $4 billion a year on private prison industry. We spend $80 billion in taxpayer funding.
Let's go through the fact that this president is a felon's friend because he allows these people back on our streets and then he blames law-abiding gun owners for the crimes they commit, Nomiki. And you own that too because you support it.
Okay, Dana, you can make accusations, you can start to push out your agenda here. The reality
is an agenda,
the majority of these people are nonviolent. The majority
of these people. No, they're not. Richard Reed was a nonviolent offender. Richard Reed, who was a gun and drug trafficker.
Your own party is in favor of this. We have a prison overpopulation problem.
I'm fine with some judicial reform and crime reform.
These are people who've been in jail.
Okay, we can't hear either one of you if you're both talking. So Nomiki, a little bit of a response from you.
Sure. So, many of these folks who have been commuted have not had access to proper defense attorneys. We don't have a prosecution problem in this country because you were able to find 2 anecdotes in Cook County does not represent the criminal justice problem that we have today, where we spend $80 billion
but I cannot let this woman continue to misrepresent the facts.
Let me let Nomiki wrap up.
Out of every 100 cases in 2014, Nomiki, that's not 2 cases.
I am looking at the Justice Department's information.
You have no idea what you're talking on this. Texas leads and right on crime. I believe in criminal justice reform. It's not a problem of prosecution.
You believe in sentencing 1 out of 3 black men
Joe Biden, who actually says we don't prosecute fraudulent 4473.
White men
the fact
don't go to jail.
We have judges that give lenient sentences. Nomiki, I will railroad you all day long if you keep trying to brush my facts off.
Okay, now you can take it to Twitter. Just use the hashtag #KellyFile. Just take that. Yeah, take it over there, and we'll look for it with the hashtag #KellyFile. Nomiki and Dana, always good to see you both.